I need to set up something. And then it became, do I go monthly? No, that's too much. They don't need quote unquote strategy every month. So quarterly just seemed to fit. 6 months was too much. So, and then random wasn't going to work because for me, I wanted it to be, I know that in July, our next quarterly calls are coming up.
Welcome to the Web Design Business Podcast with your host, Josh Hall, helping you build a web design business that gives you freedom and a lifestyle you love.
Hey friends, so great to have you here for this episode. This is a big one, and it's something that is, I dare say, revolutionary in web design right now, and it is a way to build recurring income and boost your revenue in a lot of different ways with current clients. So we're not even talking about doing any cold marketing or outbound marketing, but we're just focusing on your current clients in a way to serve them better and to build your recurring income and boost your revenue. And you can do that with strategy calls. This is a hot new thing that you can tack on to your hosting and maintenance and care plans, or you can offer them one-off, quarterly, ideally, in order to reconnect with your clients and to lead to more work. And the person who kind of pioneered this is one of my members, one of my OG members, a founding member of Web Designer Pro, Lisa Williams. She was recently on the podcast. I'm inviting her back on to the podcast because she just did a live training inside of Web Designer Pro on how she offers quarterly strategy calls. And what you're going to hear in this conversation is her actual results on what this has done to her business and how it's helped deepen her relationships with clients. Most importantly, though, boost her revenue. And it's such an easy thing to do. There's no pressure. There's no sales strategy with it. Like, you just offer quarterly strategy calls. So we're going to dive into exactly how to do that for you in this episode. We're going to cover a lot of resources here, and I have some additional resources for you at the show notes for this episode, which is going to be found at joshhall.co/326. So head over there to not only connect with Lisa and see what she's up to, but get some additional resources here. Again, her training, she has an entire guest expert training that she did on this inside of Web Designer Pro. So it's just another reason to come inside my coaching community, Web Designer Pro. You get to meet amazing people like Lisa and see what's working for other web designers. So come on into Web Designer Pro, a link for that as well at joshhall.co/326, along with a bunch of free resources. Now, here is Lisa. Let's talk quarterly strategy calls. Lisa, so good to have you back on. I'm pumped to talk about this strategy calls. You have pioneered something. I don't know if you realized how revolutionary this was until we brought it up inside of Web Designer Pro. And then I was like, what? That's super cool. And everyone else is like, what? That's super cool. And now people are making money every quarter from doing these strategy calls. So I would love to kick us off. If you had like a 30-second elevator pitch, like, you know how like in networking meetings you got to give your pitch for 30 seconds, how would you describe a strategy call? What's the summary of a quarterly strategy call?
Well, thank you for having me back. I'm super stoked. This kind of came about, the quarterly strategy calls, just to touch on that. It kind of came about just organically. And I mentioned it to somebody in Pro, and I was like, and that's where it kind of took off. So everybody was like, wow, that's really neat. But the quarterly strategy calls, I guess, to summarize, client relationships. That's really what it comes down to. And I would say I enhance client relationships, or I keep up with our clients through these calls, through the strategy, and to really just bounce ideas off them. So I'm a sounding board sometimes. I'm a therapist sometimes. I'm a strategist. We brainstorm things, and sometimes it leads to additional project work, and sometimes it's just peace of mind for the client. Like, yeah, okay, I'm on the right track. So,
it's also a very organized way to go about that, because otherwise it's very scattered. As you know, when you have a lot of clients, you need to start making some processes and systems in place that kind of constrain and make limitations and boundaries. Otherwise, everything you just said there, as web designers, we're generally doing just, sporadically. every day, every week.
Yeah.
But what you did that was so genius, and it's in the name. So it's not, like we'll get into the details, but it's very clearly in the name, a quarterly strategy call. You just brought all, because you guys have quite a few clients now, a couple dozen plus clients.
Right.
You brought them all together for a window of opportunity every quarter to do this, to be a sounding board, to give ideas, to touch base with your clients, to stay top of mind, to retain them, and build more recurring income and retainer work and everything else. But what's so genius about this is organizing this once a quarter. I've taken a page off of your book, and I'm thinking about doing the same thing for me with like consult calls and things like that I occasionally do. And I'm like, why am I doing those randomly when I could just say like once a quarter I open up calls?
And it started in, so a year ago, January. So January of 23, I have my few little stats up here on the side, but of 23. Yeah. But just prior to that, probably a few months or so, maybe 4-6 months before that, I found that I was answering a lot of questions, or I was giving, and it wasn't overwhelming, but I was just like, if this client wants a little feedback on this, or needs a little direction on how to something, or they need something done, then other clients probably do too. And it kind of came about as I wanted to be able to reach out to them more on a consistent basis, and not just have it be random, like you said. But then also, we don't send out, we host and maintain and do all the updates and all that for our clients, but we don't send out, monthly report or here's what we did this month. Or our client, it's just not in our model. So I needed a way to just communicate. And I do send out emails to clients sometimes for anything that they need to know, like the whole Google domain move to Squarespace, those types of things. I do send out emails and just blog strategy type things.
But you don't have a consistent newsletter.
No, I don't have they're not expecting something. But over this past year, clients will reach out now and, hey, this and this and this, but isn't our strategy call coming up? Or like they expect it. And so they look forward to it. And not every client does it. And we'll get into that in just a moment, but it's still letting them know that I'm here to help them.
Well, and another little hidden gem of strategy calls, I think we talked about it in the recent training you did inside of Pro, because you did this wonderful like visual training of how to offer strategy calls. You mentioned it's also, it helps revisions and feedback and ongoing support, because they could send a bunch of emails over, or they're like, you know what? Our call's coming up in a month. I'll just wait till I talk to Lisa. We'll do it then.
And I record the call. And along with that, I do have office hours now. I do have time that they can schedule if they just need to pick my brain, or we just want to talk through. If something is a little more timely for them, I do have that available. It's a paid office hour type thing, but that's just more recent. But it's it's fun. I actually look forward to them. It takes a lot out of me, for those few days, but it's really, really, it's enlightening in a lot of ways. And
it's better to have a little segment of a week or two that's a little bit draining than having like every week of every year be draining.
Yeah, exactly. And I can see where they're going in their business, or where they want to go. And I know their business. And so it works really well for us.
So before we get into the specifics of how you're doing this, whether it's paid or free, when and where you offer it. Where did this idea stem from? Was there a breaking point for you, or was there something that was like, you know what, I'm just going to group all these together? Where did this idea stem from?
It was the questions and the kind of things, the emails that I would get. And I would sometimes, if a client was, having some issue or something, I didn't have very many of these, but I'd say, all right, let's get on a call real quick. And I would just do a little 15-20 minute call, and we'd kind of hash something out, and that would be it. I didn't have anything spelled out in our care plans, our monthly care plans. I didn't have anything really. It was over the holiday of 22-23. And that was the first year that I really just took a complete break from work. Like I was just out, like I didn't do any work for that kind of week in between Christmas and New Year's. And that's when it came. Cause I'm a firm believer, like just take a break, take a rest, and it'll come to you. So I was like, I need to set up something. And then it became, do I go monthly? No, that's too much. They don't need quote unquote strategy every month. So quarterly just seemed to fit. 6 months was too much. So, and then random wasn't going to work because for me, I wanted it to be, I know that in July, our next quarterly calls are coming up. And I know, yeah.
It's so genius. It's so great. I also love that it came to you when you're on a break, just like all the best ideas happen.
Yeah.
The best ideas don't happen when you're behind the keyboard, behind the screen,
on a break or in the shower, right?
Yeah, in the break in the shower. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best ideas never come when you're actively working on websites and doing proposals and stuff.
Yeah.
It's always when you're off.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yep. So let's talk about how you're offering this. And of course, I know all this, but for everyone listening and watching now, this may be like, ding, brand new idea. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So you're offering it in just to current clients, right?
Current clients. Just a little side note, all of our services are just for current clients. Like the only way you can get into us is web design project. I've just held steadfast to that for 5 years now. So yeah. So current clients and that's it. Yeah. So.
Current clients. And then it's a part of your maintenance plans. And is it, refresh my memory, is it for everybody who's on all level? Because I know you have a tiered maintenance plan. Is it for everybody at every level?
It's for everybody. Yeah. When we get to that point, we're sitting at roughly 28, 29 clients right now. Well, that seems funny that I say 28. You either have 28 or you have 29. So I think we're at 28 right now. But that is, if we get more, if we're up to the 40, 50, I may only include it in the top 2 tiers.
Gotcha. Because, I was wondering about keeping
right now
this
it's
sustainable.
manageable.
Yeah.
Right now it's because you'll see, roughly, I think we figured out the percentage. It's not here, but I don't know, roughly like 20%.
Gotcha. Who are showing up for calls.
Yeah. Who's
taking
scheduled.
advantage of it.
Correct. Yeah. And it's 45 minutes because I typically go a little over at any call. So I thought, well, to keep it under an hour or at an hour, I've got to give it 45 minutes. So
yeah. Love it. Yeah. You and I know we're going to keep this one under an hour, which for you and me is going to be tricky stuff.
It's tricky stuff.
We could go for 2 hours just on one point of this. So
exactly.
So it's a benefit of the plan, right, Lisa? It's not something someone pays for additionally.
No,
as of now.
It's a benefit of the plan. It's a benefit of being with us. It's a win-win for everybody.
It's so cool. For new clients who get on your plan, what has been the reaction when you say, and we have a quarterly strategy call?
Oh, they're psyched. Probably six clients since I started, like they kind of just piggybacked on, like not all 6 became in the same month or anything, but we've had probably 5 or 6 since I started, new clients. And to this day, I say, we have this call and they're just, okay, this is wonderful because I know that things are going to come up. Mm-hmm. I know that, and I said, you don't have to do an additional project. Like that's not the goal of the call, is for me to invoice you for additional work. That's not the goal of the call. That's been a result, a nice benefit, a nice result, but it wasn't the goal to begin with. It was just letting them know we're here. Let's talk through some strategy. This is a time that you and I have. I've been around the block a time or two in this whole online marketing website space, all the little pieces of it. While I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be on all the pieces, right? I've got enough insight into the pieces that I can at least point them in the right direction. So that was my goal of the calls. And it's just morphed into this really cool thing that our clients do like.
I was just looking because I think we had talked about this together when I was revamping my maintenance plan course a couple years back. And because in my maintenance plan course on my demo sales page, I have it labeled as a website review call. But when I redo that course and I update it, I'm 100% going to use your model of quarterly
For
strategy.
sure.
Because that label, if you like, you could say review call, you could say console, but the term strategy is just hitting right now. So I love that that's resonating with clients. Because it does give them, it's not like a casual catch up. It's like, it's intentional. It's let's look at what's working, what we could do moving forward. Yeah.
And I give them action steps. Here's what, even if it doesn't require, this whole call doesn't result in, I'm invoicing you for a half a day to complete ABC. I can give them some action steps. If it's like, writing blog posts, that's been a big thing that we're trying to educate some clients on and help them to transverse that. But it might be something, do this, and this, and we go through things. I share my screen and do something. So it's a variety, but it always results in them taking some kind of action.
Yeah. You don't want to call it upsell calls.
Right.
For us, that's what it is.
Right. And we're not really reviewing anything. So it's all like moving forward. It might be like, well, how did this work? Or here's how it's going. And we talk about analytics sometimes, and I kind of help them wade through that. We use Fathom Analytics. So I show them that, and, so we just talk about things. And
I love that it's super casual, that there's not like a bullet list of checklists kind of thing that you're going in. You're just talking with clients. And then I'm sure naturally it just leads to some really good stuff. It's got to be kind of cool for you, whether you realize it or not, Lisa. You're like a website coach with these strategy calls.
It's former teacher by nature. That's what I did for 10 years, but I don't go into it like that, but because I feel like I have at least this knowledge of, again, pointing them in the right direction. And if it gets too much for me, I'll go, well, hey, I'm going to call on my expert team that I have, which is of course Pro. And I go, okay, well, let me just go in and see what I can garner from this topic, or what information I can get, or we're sharing things all the time in Pro, right? Like links and pages and tools and all kinds of stuff. So that's where I tell them I'll go, and then I can get the answer for them.
Yeah. And by the way, you could do that. I don't know if you've done it live, but that's the benefit of being inside a Web Designer Pro or any community, is you could be like, well, actually, I'll take you in. This is the web design community I'm a part of. And like, look, we have a whole space for like local SEO. We have a whole chat. Or
I haven't done that live on the call yet on one of these calls.
You're welcome to if you want. Nothing proprietary or anything.
True. That'd be interesting. Yeah. But it is in a coach type scenario. Coach, I'm helping them along. And some clients, they're so far along that we have some pretty high profile clients, and they're so far along that they either don't need a strategy call because they have their own team that does it. Or we're very intentional. Like, they're kind of leading me on what they want to do, and then I tell them how it can be implemented. And that typically is an invoiced project, because it's so detailed. But
So I want to recap. I want to get into the results of your year and a half of offering these. But before we do, when are you offering these, and how long is the window? So
I offer them quarterly. So when I first started, I thought, all right, it just happened to be January, right? Like, you can start it at any time of the year, but it just kind of, all the stars lined up for me then. So I was like, January is perfect. So it's usually mid-month, just depending on my project schedule. And of course, summertime gets a little sketchy, but it's January, April, July, and October, which is, I know we talked about this before. And on the training, people were asking when I started, when I did these, and October is a great month. They're all just great months. I guess that's the quarters. They're all just really good months to do this. July last year, it's been a year. So April, so I haven't quite we haven't went through another summer yet. I mean, it's only been a little over a year that I've done this. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had mentioned, so, and I know, we're not pulling this up on the screen, but in the training you did inside of Web Designer Pro, you had mentioned January, which if you're cool, are you cool with?
I'm cool with sharing. Yeah. I have it up too. Like I'm cool with sharing.
Yeah. Walk us through. So and by the way, before we look at your actual numbers and stuff, how often are you opening up these calls? Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks?
It's 10 business days. So usually that's a Monday, Friday, usually, but sometimes it'll overlap. And sometimes it's not quite 10 business days, but it's 7 to 10 business days is when I have it. So I, have my calendar and I just have a specific calendar for that call. And then I just open it up those days, that span. And I send the email out that it's time, here we are, kind of. And that's not automated. Some people ask me if that's automated. It's not. I just want to send it out. And based on the time it is, I might add a little snippet of us or what we're doing or whatever. I just personalize it. Or if something's really on my mind, I might say, hey, let's talk about this. This is an idea. So I leave it open. I give them some examples of what we can talk about, but I send that email out about a week and a half before the calendar opens.
Nice.
And then I'll go in and send a couple reminders. I know who's scheduled or not. Again, if we get we're reaching 40, 50, 60 clients, which I don't know, that just seems like if we doubled, that would just seem crazy to me, but it's possible. Yeah. I would have to have some different processes, maybe a little more automation, but right now I don't automate all those emails. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then they schedule and that's it.
Oh, that's a very sound, look ahead, because like you said, it's manageable, it's sustainable, but I would say, as your coach, as soon as you get to the point where you're like, okay, this is a lot of calls, then it's time for tiered separation, maybe spots. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what are you using Calendly or what?
I use Book Like a Boss. I've used it. I'm a Moxie queen and we'll get to a little snippet of that at the end, and they do have a calendar in there. My subscription's not up yet. I go yearly with Book Like a Boss. Okay. I love them. It's been wonderful. So who knows if I'll switch, but it's amazing. All our clients are used to it and everything, just the platform and stuff, but I use that. It's very friendly. And I set it up. And so I just mark off the block off the calendar with my days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I might open it up during that time. I think I do Monday through Thursday for that. Usually I'm only doing calls Tuesday through Thursday, but I think I open up the Monday for that, for that time period. But yeah, and it's just, there's plenty of time for them to schedule. It's pretty wide open on those days. So they schedule their time and we just go for it. Yeah.
So let's talk numbers. Year and a half you've done this. So you've done 6 quarterly strategy calls.
I've done 6. Yep. So January of 2023 is when I started. So January there were 7 and we didn't have, we were maybe sitting at 21 clients at that time. So gotcha. 7 booked. And then in April, 7 booked. In July, 5, and then October was 10.
10, yeah. So like you said, October, which makes sense. And I think, well, obviously this year is more, we'll get to that, but the first year of doing this, it makes sense that fall was the big one. You had a few to kind of reel in your systems and your processes. Right. And then fall is always a great time. School year started. They're looking to wrap the end of the year up strong.
In July, it's summer. I might even do something a little bit different this summer. I might maybe have a bigger window, but not as many days. I don't know how, but just given the vacations and things like that, I just, cause July there were 5, which was fine. if one schedules, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And then January, I had 11.
This year,
this past January, 11. Yeah. That's and it wasn't, it was our highest month. I'll give you the numbers in a minute. Then April, I just finished up and there was 7.
Okay. So exact same as last year.
And we're at 28 clients.
That's the big thing. It's I know everyone's probably terrified of like, oh, am I going to open up my call schedule
Oh
to
my gosh.
20 or
Yeah.
30 or 40 people? The reality is, not everyone's going to do
No.
it. And some might say, yeah, I'll do the one in January, but we're good for 6 months. I'll reconnect in the summer or fall.
Yep. And even there was a client who didn't call or didn't schedule a call, but she emailed and said, hey, in response to it's time to schedule your quarterly call. I don't need a call for this, but here's what I want to do. And she just spelled it out.
Cool.
And it was an additional, it was a paid project that we were going to do, but she didn't need a call for that. So just the idea of having the call, sending out that it's time to schedule, and she had booked calls in the past. She just didn't need one. She already knew what she wanted. So she just was like, let's do it. So
I was just thinking for the next level of this to save time and bandwidth and sustainability, I almost wonder if there could be, a couple of different things that come to mind with the next level would be to either do like a group call sort of method. That would be a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of it needs to be one-on-one, but if you end up doing a tier down, maybe it's like a group quarterly strategy call that like the low tier would get almost like a Q&A session, like we do in Pro, like a weekly.
Yeah, exactly. Call. Yeah.
The other thing you could do is like personal Loom videos. So you could say like, if you don't need a one-on-one call, send me what you need. And if you need my insight, I'll send you a Loom video. So it's kind of like
I could do that. Yeah.
A different version of a one-on-one.
I didn't even think about that. Like if you just have a question about something, give me your question and I'll do a video for you.
Yeah. Or a series of questions. If they send you 10 questions, instead of doing a 50-minute one-on-one call, you could do a 10-minute Loom video or
in lieu of the call. Like I wouldn't do both, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if somebody can't make it, but you could still say like, if you do have questions, but you don't want to book a whole call, send them to me and I'll send you a Loom. So it's kind of, I'm trying to think of a way you could almost incorporate even more clients without spending more time.
Right. True. Yeah. It's, the calls are, sometimes there's because I don't limit the amount per day. I know like in calendar platforms, you can do that, but I don't do that for these calls because I just want it to be open. And there've been months where I do have 3 a day, and they're like, not back to back because I of course have a little buffer, but it's enough to where I'm like, whew, I've been talking a lot today. As web designers, you're just here doing your thing, and I go, oh my gosh, I'm like exhausted at the end of the day, but it's all worth it. I'm right there
with you. The same thing with podcasting. If I do 2 or 3 podcasts in a day, I'm like, whew, all right, I need to design a website tomorrow. I'm going to
Exactly.
But again, it goes back to that idea of you would have had to space these 10 calls out over 3 months previous to this. If you didn't do it.
And then it's all like, oh, do I charge? Do I put a fee on these? Do I do this? Do I do that? And I'm like, you know what? It's in our plan right now. Like you just get this. Yeah. It's not an exhausting amount of time. It's not like I'm doing all these things to prepare. I don't have to prepare for the call. Sometimes if they tell me exactly what they want to talk about, because I do have that question when they schedule the call, what specifically would you like to talk about? Then I might have to look something up or I just kind of like look at their website or something, but there's not a lot of prep in these calls. It's right then and there. I don't have a script or, I don't have specific questions that I ask them. It's just very loose and organic.
And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, Lisa, you're taking, upwards of 10, 11 calls every quarter for free. That seems like a big time issue. So let's talk numbers. Let's talk money.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, yes, it's a benefit to keep in touch with clients and reduce doing these calls scattered, but they have led to a ton of additional revenue for you that would have never been there.
They would have never been there. And I would have still been answering questions and emails. I would have still been doing short little videos to explain something. I would have still been doing all of those things and being resentful because I should really be charging for this. Like we have that kind of, fence that we straddle a lot, right?
Yeah.
So this has just relieved all of that. It's been actually lovely to be able to do this because I don't get a lot of that extra that clients need and that they want. So 13.7 in last year total.
So yeah, almost $14,000.
Almost 14,000. And it probably, that's not exact, but for me to go back exact, because the projects they range, it's
Sure.
not, I have half day, full day things. And then if a project is even more intense than that, like in January, I had this past January was our highest month at 5,200.
Yeah,
Resulting from those calls.
Those results, this is pulled off a slide in your training. That's actually 14.7 by the numbers there. So in January 23, you had $3,500 of additional projects based off of quarter strategy calls. April, you had 2,500 additional projects. July, despite it being the least amount of people, last year you had $4,200 worth of additional projects, and then in October you had 4,500. So that's almost
correct.
15.
Almost so I added 15. Wrong.
That's all right. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, almost 15 for having calls with clients that we know they're like part of our family. That's just it's Steve and I, and we know all our clients, and at a certain level, and we're friends with some of them. And I mean, all of them really. I don't like to say some of them we're friends with, but you know what I mean? So it's extra.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's additional stuff that you didn't have to come up with a launch plan and email sequences. No. A big thing. You just, and be keeping in mind, this is year one. I imagine every year this is going to 2, 3x, 4x.
January was 52 and just April was 32. So I'm already almost halfway to last year's client strategy calls. So the projects range, it can just be helping them through something as far as like some email sequence where I'm not writing them or anything, but maybe they just, they need me to go in and plug some things in. The connections and the integrations stump a lot of clients. And so I will sometimes go in and do that as a project, but that's kind of rare. Most of the times it has to do with their website, something.
So
either they're rebranding or they need an opt-in, they need a sales page, they need something. Yeah,
that's just kind of cool. No matter, like, anyone can do this, no matter what your suite of services is. Even if you do happen to have 50 or 100 clients, you could just do it with the top level, your A clients.
Exactly.
And in most cases, I think your range is going to be most common for freelancers with anywhere between 10, 20, 30 clients. It's very manageable, and it's amazing what you can do. How long have I been saying this, Lisa? A couple dozen clients can get you to 6 figures and well beyond.
It is true. A couple dozen clients and a course, right?
And a course. We'll talk about your new course next.
But I mean, that's what I think about. Yeah. But like, I'm not with these additional projects, which have also led to podcast transcription, which that is an additional, it's a recurring project, but a strategy call led to us doing that. So it's not a direct correlation all the time. So the number of calls don't all get, have a project attached, a paid project right then, but sometimes it's the talk about it. And then how are we going to implement this? And for podcast transcription, it's a monthly recurring. So with all of that combined, it's not like, oh my gosh, I need a brand new client. So
well, there's 3 ways to grow your business. You either get new clients, you either raise your rates and grow your revenue, or you sell more to your current clients, just sell more things. What you're doing is the latter. You are just figuring out a genius way to add more value for your clients. And sometimes they just need to be prompted. Sometimes clients right now, I'll say this to everyone listening and watching, your clients are probably, a lot of them, willing to pay you a lot more money right now for multiple things. You just haven't offered it. So they need to hear from you. You need to be on top of their minds, in their feeds, in their email. And if you do these quarterly strategy calls, we're good to go. So you record.
And when I started doing this, I had to check myself and go, wait a minute, am I qualified to give all of this advice, talk about all of these things? And then I looked at my journey up until then. and I've had other smaller businesses. I've done other things. I've been online. I've done all those things. Right. And so I thought, it's okay because I'm not here with I'm not trying to say like I have all the answers and that I can even do all the projects. If somebody wants something, sometimes I suggest they do some keyword research, or we might talk about more strategy into that sphere, which I can only go so far with that. Right. But so I just had to say, you know what? I'm here for them. Let me see what I can do for them. And I know what I know, and let's go from there. So I encourage anyone to just do it. Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah. Anyone who feels like an imposter or not a quote unquote expert, if you are in web design for 3 months, you know more than your clients. So you're good.
Yeah,
you go through one of my courses, you're good. Share what you know. And then join Pro, and then you have an entire network of everything else you need to fill the gap.
I was just going to say, if you're in Pro, then you don't have to worry at all.
Not a dang thing.
Yeah.
So are you using Zoom to record these?
I am not. I use Sessions.
Okay.
Sessions is a Zoom alternative type thing. So
do they get access to the whole call for their reference?
They do. I can download it, and then there's a link. It automatically saves it in your platform, in the Sessions platform. And so I send them that link. Usually they don't need it. It's more for me to make sure that I've got everything straight. I've only had to go back and look at a couple, like replay a couple of videos, and then I delete them after a while. But yeah, it's just there in case
those could be repurposed at some point, or you could use the one as an example. You could say like, watch a strategy call of a client.
I never thought about that.
I'm here for you, Lisa. That's why we're here. We are coming up with like a whole nother course, like a full course on how to make strategy calls.
I'm telling you, maybe that's my next one.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Anyways, here we go.
But it's just been so rewarding because, like I said, even if the call is 45 minutes of like, it's okay, really. Like you don't have to live on social media to get your website off the ground or to get clients or get whatever. Like you can do this, and let's start, even if it's just talking them off the ledge, so to speak, it's worth it.
Yeah. So you're doing so you have the 2 week window or the 10-day window-ish to book the calls once every quarter. And I imagine too, a lot of this may plant some seeds for something that may come down the road 3, 6 months or a year down the road. Like not all of this is going to be instant gratification. I would imagine if you talked to somebody in January last year, that prompted them to really think about it. And then maybe January this year, they're finally like, yep, after our conversation last year, we're ready to go on this.
Yep. That is. And sometimes it's after a call and they think about it. And the income, the revenue from those calls, again, it's not like these 7 calls resulted in this exact amount, but like, it's just kind of a ballpark on what I know I was going to do for them and what I did do for them eventually, but it might not result that first month. It might not come that call, but they might just email me, hey, I'm ready now. Remember when we talked in April that we're going to do ABC, now I'm ready, or something of that nature. So yeah.
One of the coolest things about this is the very fact that you are separating yourself from most every other web designer out there by offering a consultation, a strategy call, when your clients need it. Like most web designers build sites, even if they have recurring income, most part, they're kind of hands off after that. But what you and a lot of other pros have done that I've seen so well over the past year or a couple of years is really put an emphasis on retention. And I think personally, for web designers who are going to make it and be sustainable, it's going to be a much bigger emphasis on retaining clients and deepening those relationships and learning new things and just selling less. Like you don't have to meet new clients all the time. You don't need to be stuck on social media or posting reels nonstop. You can get a couple dozen clients and really invest in them and go deeper with them. That's one really cool benefit of this is it's like,
that's always what I wanted to do. Yeah. We have a couple of 2 clients that I work really heavily with: the website, the forms, the opt-ins, the sales pages, the courses that they offer, products that they offer, which aren't very many, and then the podcast transcription monthly. So like, and then blog posts from those transcriptions, with the platform that I use. So it's just like, I'm just in it. And it's so much easier when they want something done, that I can just do it very quickly, or I don't have to go down the rabbit hole of, oh gosh, well, how exactly should this look for that? Like, I know what they like and those kind of things from a design perspective. It's just fun, and then then a new client comes in, you're like, ooh, you get to be part of the fun now. Like you get to, cause again, it's just web design for us. And I've always held that. Well, I mean, to get in, I say like we're some kind of lockdown fortress or something, but I'm not going to we're not going to maintain a website that's just random out there somewhere, but that's just us. And a lot of people, they do that. That's totally fine. So it's been very nice to be able to keep it in-house.
What's been the most surprising thing for you with these quarterly strategy calls? It could be revenue, could be the relationship with clients. Has anything, been surprising to you, or just you weren't expecting that with these?
I think how open they are and how trusting they are. How open some of them will be, and if they're struggling with something, or if they're just not, how is this going to work? Like a client just reached out yesterday about a opt-in, a freemium, they call it in the world, she has it ready, but like, I don't have my email sequence quite set up, and I can't quite remember how this all works, but this is done. Like the offer's done. It's a recipe thing, but can you tell me, like, how are we going to do this? Like, I'm ready to kind of do this now. And so just the trust, really, just the openness and the trust that they have in me to be able to help them figure it out, or not help them, point them in the right direction, or do it, like
That's really cool.
know how to do it.
That's cool. Yeah. I imagine you're unlocking kind of a different aspect of your relationship with clients with these, with that idea of trust.
Yeah. I mean, they will reach out to us. I'm not worried now. A new client coming in, I got to kind of like, encourage them, or I got to kind of like, it's like when you, you're kind of molding that person into how you want the relationship to be, kind of. And so new clients coming in, they're like, wait a minute, you can do that? We can do that on my website? Like, because a lot of times they don't even know what they don't know. They don't know what we can do with the tools that we have, and that we can just implement these things. And a lot of times they don't know. So when new clients come in, it's like, okay, if you have this, don't go out and do all these things. Let me know, because we probably have the tool already to do that.
You must be learning so much in each one of these quarters too. Because if you learn something from one client and do it, the next call you have, you can be like, we just did this with Sally, and look at her website, and then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want that too.
A ton. Yeah. So yeah, it's just the relationship all the way around, and the trust they have in us. Yeah.
So awesome, Lisa. This is so great. I mean, we really covered most everything I wanted to hit as far as the podcast here. You have the entire training that you did. Thank you so much for doing that and being transparent here, and in the training with your numbers and how you've run it in the weeds. That's available for everyone who joins Pro. So we talked about some strategies and tips for the next evolution of these plans for you. So I'm really excited to continue to oversee how you're doing this and what's working. And eventually we'll get to the point where we're going to need to talk, group coaching calls with these, put tiers to them maybe.
Right.
But you're loving it. You obviously, it's a year and a half in, you're not burned out from doing it. So that's wonderful to see. You're entering new territory, though. Also, you mentioned your course. So let's just shift gears completely to close this up. You're a big Moxie user. You're a power user of Moxie.
Huge Moxie CRM. They're kind of hard to find online. Like freelance with Moxie, it just depends on what those words are that you put in there. It might take a little bit of,
in a year and a half, here's what's interesting seeing you, because I've seen your whole journey. You've been a student for a long time.
The whole journey.
Yeah, I've literally seen you from square one, which is like you're one of the most rewarding case studies, success stories. I actually have a picture of you. I'm building my wall of awesome right now up on my wall, and I have testimonials and snippets from a lot of stories, and you're up there, you and Steve. So I see it every day. I'm like, yeah, look at you guys. Here's the thing. What's cool though is in a year and a half, you went from becoming now an established web designer to website coach with your quarterly strategy calls. And now you're a course creator. So tell us about your Moxie course.
Yeah. So the Moxie CRM, it's a, whole platform like your Dubsado, your 17 Hats, your Honeybook, it's all that, right? But I was in search of a project management platform because I'm not an Asana user. I'm not ClickUp. That was just way overkill for me. Anyway, so I found Moxie last summer. And let me tell you, it completely changed day to day. It completely changed how I work, project management tasks, invoices, proposals, time tracker. There's a scheduler, request tickets, all the things. And what's so special about Moxie is that they are focused on freelancers and small businesses. However, you can have big businesses in there, but it's geared towards the smaller businesses. So I started using that last summer. It became a huge, I dove in, and then people we got started in pro. People were like, there was conversation. And when they were on AppSumo last summer, it was all I saw like, oh my gosh. So we had talk going there. Well, that morphed into, I just became the person to ask for, how are you doing this? Or how to do this? Or I can't get this. And I just started helping in pro. And that's really where it started. And the idea for the course, it's a beginner's course. So it's like, I say, if you have a messy Moxie, if it's just all out of sorts, or if you have not even set it up yet, this is the course for you. And it's almost done. This was the first release of it just a couple of weeks ago, and 80 people are in the course already. It's blowing my mind. It is so exciting because they're business owners. So it's not like they're not like my client. I'm not trying to get new clients from that. It's like, I'm trying to help you to run your business with this platform. And it is absolutely fabulous. And the course has been going great so far. And I'm almost done releasing the last few little lessons. But
by the time this goes live, it'll be complete. Outside of Web Designer Pro, who's buying the course? Where are you marketing this?
I shared it in the Moxie Facebook community. And it blew up in there. And then I was able, Stephanie Hudson graciously allowed me to share it in Folks WP Facebook group. Very cool. There wasn't a lot of conversation in that group, in the what I shared in there, but I'm not on Facebook a whole lot. I go into these few groups that I'm in, right? And I just check things out. And that's kind of my extent.
You're busy serving your clients and making money.
Right. Busy creating this course. But yeah, it's, so it kind of blew up in there. People have just been sharing it, with each other. And there's other people in the community that they do done for you services. So, they're going to set up your Moxie for you for X amount of dollars and at different levels and whatever. There's a few people that do that, and they have like little power hours where they'll talk you through something. But I thought, you know what? I don't want to set up Moxie for other business owners. That's not I don't want to get into your business. You need to really get in there and set it up. Right. So, I need to show you how. And it was birthed. The idea of the course was birthed during one of our member hangouts in Pro. That's where it was. I mean, if that's not like affirmation, I don't know what is. Like,
that's so awesome, Lisa. And you're a really good example of like, if anyone feels like, why would I ever create a course or a program or a training on a tool? Because Moxie has tutorials, I'm sure. Just like I thought that I was like, for a while, I was like, do I even want to ever do a Divi course? Because they have their training, like they have Divi tutorials that Divi provides, but power users of a tool have a unique perspective. And the fact that you and I use a lot of tools, but we're not a part of the company, we can share very honestly what we like, what we don't like, what could be improved without bias. And people respect that and trust that. So I think you hit while the iron was hot.
And it was needed. Cool. And I go on the Facebook community a lot, and I pop in there and I see, and it's questions and questions and questions about little things. And some of the features, like I said, I don't use the calendar in there right now. I don't use request tickets, but like it's not everything that I cover. I don't cover everything in this course because I'm just not. It's really
it's a beginner's course.
It's a beginner's course, and it sets you up. And then I also have a monthly Q&A for that group of people. And yesterday, May 8th, as we're recording this, it was yesterday, was our first one. And it was really cool. It was really fun. I answered questions. We talked about things, and it was really fun. But the course itself is to get you to set up your Moxie platform in the right order. Everyone wants to get to, I want to send an agreement. I want to send this proposal. Well, you got to start here first. And that's what I found in helping people and setting it up myself, is that it needs to be done in this logical order. And then you're all, by the end, everything is good to go all the way through workflow automations.
This is a Moxie Foundations course.
Yeah.
Course number 2 will be your advanced course, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's geared towards web designers only because that's what I do, and that's the examples that I kind of show. But any small bit, it's really for the business owner like me. That's small,
So for anyone who's screaming at us, like, where the heck do I find this course? Where do they go?
It is our website, so joliedesignsolutions.com. And it's it's Moxie-course.
Okay. And we'll have that linked in the show notes.
I'll make sure you have the link. Yeah. It is Moxie-course. And it's, you get it's all access. And I'm in there. There's a little comment. You can ask questions right on the lesson that you're on. I put that in there because I thought, I don't want people emailing me and having to, I don't know. I want everybody to see the Q&A kind of throughout the lessons. So it's a lot of fun, and it's amazing that the feedback so far is good. So I'm just anxious to kind of get it done and get it, like you said, when this is out, it'll be done.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Well, I'm so pumped for you, Lisa. Your strategy calls, your course, the success of your business.
That may be my next course is, I don't know. I'll have to talk to the Hangout about a name for that.
Yeah. Well, for Pro, I'm going to be putting together almost like mini courses. I'm thinking about calling them playbooks, which are a little more robust than our monthly training. Because our monthly trainings are like 30, 40-minute master classes like the one you did. But there's time where like it'd be nice to have a little more but we don't need a full 7-module course. So I'm thinking about putting a playbook together for interview series, which I recommend people do, and an email newsletters for web designers, a few other things.
Right. We've had a lot of good trainings in there. So I can see that being a good thing.
Yeah, I might tag team with you on quarterly strategy calls playbook.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'll message you in Pro after this. We'll get going on it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Lisa, I got to get going here in a couple minutes, but any final thoughts, encouragement?
I encourage to start, doing the quarterly strategy calls, even if you want to offer it just to a select few clients right now, maybe, I don't know, but I encourage anyone to do it, and just thank you, man. This is, I don't know. I just say all the time, I don't talk to many other web designers that are not in Pro, but I tell you, if you're a web designer listening and you're not, Josh did not pay me to say this, but it is the absolute best investment in your business. I've been from day one, and it is amazing. I wouldn't be where I am today, honestly. Like I wouldn't have the wherewithal and the confidence and the knowing that people have my back and knowing that I can bounce ideas off of people. So I just thank you, for having the vision for this early on. And I'm here for the ride.
Well, I'm so pleased to have you along for the ride, Lisa. That was awesome. I can't think of a better way to end a podcast. So thank you for sharing your quarterly plans. Pumped about your Moxie course. We'll have it linked in the show notes for everybody. Awesome. Until the next one, Lisa.
Thank you.
My gosh, you're
I'll be a three-peater here. I'm going to do a hat trick.
Oh, you'll be a three-peater.
I'll reference your hockey love. I'm going to do a hat trick here.
A hat trick? Oh, Lisa, gosh, you're just awesome. That's wonderful.
I will talk to you later, Josh.
All right, Lisa. Thanks. This is great.
Bye.
So, awesome, right? a great way to deepen your relationship with clients, to boost your revenue, to build recurring income, all by doing it in a way that just standardizes, how to connect with your clients, because you're probably doing this just sporadically already. So you might as well do it every quarter with this idea of quarterly strategy calls. Again, more resources for you over at joshhall.co/326, where all the show notes, links, and resources mentioned will be there for you. Definitely connect with Lisa over there. And if you are a Moxie user, as we just talked about, Lisa has a brand new course at the time of releasing this for Moxie users. So go check that out as well. You can connect with her at joliedesignsolutions.com. And again, all those links will be over at the show notes for you, along with a full transcription of this at joshhall.co/326. I'll see you over there. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, and I can't wait to see you on the next one, because there's a lot of goodies just like this one up ahead. So thanks for listening, friends. Leave a review, by the way, if you would. That'd be so helpful to the show. It would mean a lot to me. All right, see you at the show notes, over at the show notes. Wow, if I could talk today, at joshhall.co/326.